Welcome back to the most professional StarCraft 2 with a former world champion Zerg, ranked #1 in the world by Dark, in the red, the final boss. It's Dark. Up against his greatest nemesis and arguably the best Protoss player in the world, we have Hero. A best-of-5 Protoss versus Zerg Grand Finals between Dark's barely controlled chaos and Hero's reckless aggression. I'm looking forward to another great match, almost as much as I'm looking forward to you smashing that like button. And maybe even subscribe, help counter the algorithm. And Jimmy, what are we? 1,546 likes on this video, on this cast, and I'll cast another one. I'll probably do it anyways. I don't know what else I'd do with my life. But thank you for watching. Hopefully, you've had a good day so far. And hopefully it's about to get just a little bit better. As Hero driven away, both players sent out scouting workers. Less rare for Protoss than Zerg, but Dark never going to miss an opportunity to get a drone in the base. Though, unfortunately, he won't be around long enough to see the Void Ray begin. And the Void Ray, despite the nerfs in the past, still securing its legacy as the best way to keep Dark in the himself about things. Gonna knock down any of the overlords, pop them like overripe tomatoes, and make sure that Dark has no ability. Well, he's just gonna have to figure it out on his own. Hero with another interesting wall off at the front. I'm looking forward to the creative architecture that we see every time Hero plays, making sure that controller thumbstick comes up with something new. The Overlord driven all the way, can't even go any further off the map. The beautiful waterfalls in the background, quite a nice setting for the brutal war we have between these two. Twilight Council immediately behind. He's gonna get an Oracle as well. Energy recharges it with 100 extra energy. That Oracle can pick up after itself. Having enough for Revelation and to activate the Oracle and clear creep. Add a Stasis Ward or two. Honestly, it's almost like getting 2 Oracles for the price of 1 nowadays. And that Void Ray back at home can help deal with any pesky Zerglings for now while continuing to deny scouting. The Stasis, he actually hold positions knowing the placement. And the Stasis catches a single sacrificial drone, which doesn't really even take damage. It just gets a mandated work break. But another pylon at the wall. Oh. Lair on the way, pre-5 minutes. Not particularly early, but certainly not late out of Dark. Making sure he keeps his options open. And the Oracle will light up a few creep tumors, but get off my creep! Oh. Queen takes out the Oracle. A bit of an off-screen death, but there. We handled it. And the Void right now... What? Where's the probe going? Oh, he wants the Watchtower. So, in order to get through here... Wait, does he want the Watchtower? The Zergling? On a move command, so won't actually end up finding the probe. There's not really any info behind it. It is just going to be blank and +1, and 3 Stalkers outside the third might be enough to give that away to Dark, who's quite literally covering all his bases now. He's getting a Lair, a Roach Warren, +1 ranged attack, but plenty of Zerglings in order to make sure no early sort of adept aggression can work alongside the Void Ray. But it's going to be blank. A Hydralisk Den starts immediately. Dark is going up to full 3-base saturation, and Hero hasn't slowed up on the probes or made a whole bunch of extra gateways. He's sitting on 4 gates right now, which is enough to build up a healthy count of Stalkers, but not enough to do some sort of crazy all-in. We're going to find out momentarily whether he's just trying to draw a huge amount of units out of Dark and defend back at home, or if he actually wants to continue the aggression. He's mining through, he's already mined through a lot of the mineral wall down to the gold bases here. Or not the gold bases, but essentially the mining DLC base. You know, he might go for the gold base. It's unclear at this stage. But the Stalkers are coming across. Charge already queued up. +2 ground weapons for Hero has begun in a robotics bay. Dark at 68 drones, same as his counterpart. Both of them looking at a borderline nice economy to start things off, and a Warp Prism is already the choice. I guess when you have this many gateways, as well as a Robo Bay in production, the Warp Prism makes a lot of sense as a tool to potentially keep Dark busy, and the Stalkers blink in and block out the Zerglings. Uh-oh. Dark is also opening up the southern path, and that means both players will have full access to the entirety of the map now. There is technically that open space near the watchtower in order to stream through, but Hydra's in production. We haven't seen much besides the Oracle going down and a few Zerglings getting boxed out, but Dark, a single Zergling will spot the probe. The fact that this entire area is open is a whole new angle of opportunity for both sides, really, especially since Dark has already mined through his side as well. Infestation Pit is on the way. The Stalker's on the edge of the creep to the north. That Warp Prism, not something he can take out directly, unless he strays way too far into the Queens and the Hydras. But Hero and Warp Prisms have a difficult working relationship at times, considering his affinity for the Select All Army hockey. Yeah, does he have 2 hotkeys for his Prism? Oh my, he goes straight into the main! The Queens getting chopped up by the Zealots, but for the most part, handling it just fine. 2 drones down. The Zealot citizens arrest. The drones are able to take him out with ease, and well, Dark is not really having any issues. He shuts down pretty much everything. He takes out the Warp Prism, of course. There's so many Hydras, 21 Hydras on the field, but also there's 23 Stalkers, and that Colossus is a hard counter for everything on the ground. It can melt easily with the Colossi, especially with extended thermal lances about to complete. So, keep them at arm's length, and then burn through the Hydraling composition. Hive is on the way, but the Colossus is the most important thing for Dark to contend with. He's obviously angling towards Vipers. There's no Lurker dead on the way. He's at 184 supply. The economy is relatively light for this stage, 72 to 71 workers. So both players are perpetuating the amount they have right now, but they don't want to commit too much supply that could be going to army. These sort of fights can spiral out of control very quickly. If Dark finds himself in a bad angle, or if Hero opens up too much of one. Again, the Blink Stalkers on patrol. That is so many Stalkers. The sheer amount of Stalkers right now. Obviously, Dark is very famous to have that many Stalkers looking at him, but Hive is nearly completed. Oh. What do words even mean? How do you pronounce them? Questions that can be asked, but I'm not confident how to answer. But thankfully, we have more things to distract, like the Zealots up to the north side. Not enough Roaches to stop him for now. +2 is done, but Dark with a full surround. He's coming in. Those minerals are actually pinning him up against the wall. 3 Colossi, though, still help you out a lot. He blinks to the other side of the mineral wall. The Colossi will somehow... How do they even fit through that? You know, you really think Colossi would be able to step over minerals. But I digress. An awkward engagement. Kind of unclear who won there. Both sides taking out a similar amount of supply with a similar amount of complexity. A lot of Hydras going down. Same as a Sentry, Void Ray, a bunch of Stalkers, so not super costly units on either side. The Colossi are all still intact. There were no Vipers yet, so those weren't vulnerable. There's Storm on the way for Hero, and that's going to be absolutely critical. Not just for the Storm, but the fact he's going to have High Templar to potentially feed back the Vipers. As Vipers could either yank the Colossi out of the fray, or, well, into the Hydras, or, if the Vipers are shut down, be more than enough to power through. But with 2 flavors of splash damage, Dark is going to be hard-pressed to take a straight-up engagement against the main army. The Robo unit's just kind of sitting back at the rally point here while the Stalkers are on patrol. A fleet beacon is lit by Hero, realizing that this could go to a higher tech composition. I don't know if the Vipers were spotted. How many Templar on the field? 6 Templar. Storm. 10 seconds out. It will be fully operational by the time the Zerg army arrives. But the Vipers feedback 1-2, 0 out of 5. Would not let him abduct and murder me. And Dark is left with just 1. He gets a Colossus. Immortals surround and Storm soften things up. Still 2 Colossi on the back. Dark continually maxed out. He's building 28 more Hydras. The madman. The Overseers will be taken out on the way, but Hero, the Templar swing in just in time to turn things around. And now Dark is stuck with a mid-game army against late-game tech. Storm is an existential threat. The Colossi are still something that needs to be contended with, and he just finished the Lurker Den. A significant oversight. I don't think he felt like he had the economy for Lurkers, but now he's going to regret not having them at all. He needs Lurkers with range or an incredible engagement angle. Ideally both, but he's just going to go for the fight for now. The Templar in the back, plenty of energy, but he can yank out the Colossi. Feedback, gets one, storms to the north. The Viper's able to retreat in time, +3 missile attacks about to complete for Dark. Not bothering with armor because wading through the storms does nothing. Lunges away, lunges forward! And at the same time, Dark moving, just juggling his units. The Hydra's doing what they can to close the distance. And both players still very high on supply, but Dark maintaining 200. He has that Lurker Den completed. He's finally thinking about the Carapace upgrades, but Hero has gone for the gold. But he really just wanted the green gold that is Vespene gas. Lurker range, Mothership, Immortal, +2 shields even. Appears Dark obviously spotted this. He's gonna take out the Nexus, and now Hero has a very tough decision. He's in purgatory. He's constricted through the center, taking forever to move his army across. There's a division of Zealots headed north. Is it enough to actually take out the Roach Hydra? I don't think so. There's no surface area there. He could take down the rocks. Will that save the day? Will he even think about it? Meanwhile, Dark, 8 probes were killed, mostly at that base. The Zealots are just slicing through the Roach Hydra like a laser sword through butter. And the Vipers are actually committed to the top right, putting Dark in an awkward position. He's going to have to give up this base. 7 Lurkers on the way. Range about to complete. 10 more Roaches in production. Both players nearly maxed out, which overall favors Hero. But is there enough of an answer for the Lurkers? There's already 6 Immortals on the ground. He abandoned the Colossi a while ago. They're just a legacy unit at this point. Grandfathered in. The Mothership has arrived. Mama's home. We'll see what Dark has an answer. It's not like there's weapon upgrades. There's no interest in going Tempest. The Mothership just for the utility she provides. Active cloaking at the right time could be a game-winning move, but the mass recall the Mothership offers can also be the best way to win or throw the game. We'll see which way it goes. But the storms all over the Lurkers. Blinding Cloud at the front. Feedback a little late, though. The Blinding Cloud helping out a lot. But more storms, and Blinding Clouds work both ways. The Mothership. Now, what's the move? He spots the Mothership. There's nothing he can do about it. They're unyoinkable. Still an existential threat. He needs to deal with the Lurkers. He could just potentially target the Overseers, or does it even matter? The Lurkers are helping out so much. But the amount of Storms and Immortals will just bash right through. Dark going for the base trade of sorts. Hydralisks. Still, the Lurkers at a perpendicular angle, which is the worst possible way to engage. Does he have detection? He has an Observer and an Oracle with this army. And it's just powering through. Hero shoving his way in with the Mothership. The Lurker's unable to stop the attack. Dark will take out another base in trade, but he's lost several of his own. He takes out yet another Nexus. Hero lining up for a recall, it looks like. He's gonna go home to the natural. There's still plenty of Immortals. And by that I mean, well, 5 of them is plenty. I'd call that plenty. Dark is down to 56 drones. He's able to cut, well, I was gonna say he's cutting off some of this army, but with that many Templar, the Immortals, the Mothership is still intact. Dark, a little bit too late on teching up to Lurkers. He maxed out, but he wasn't able to crack Hero's base. And now Hero's coming across the map with a deadly army. He still has the core of the unit composition, the Templar, the Mothership, the Immortals. That's all he really needs. And the Oracle control has been very good besides the very first one. The only Oracle he lost. I say it like past tense because, well, I think Dark is about to be. But the Vipers? Thing is, against the Templar, the Immortals are worthy of abducting. But Blinding Cloud helpful, but there's no great choice with the Vipers. Well, Dark chooses an option that I'm sure he was thinking about. That is another choice with the Vipers. He just GG's out. Game 1 will go to Hero. He's able to crush through, and Dark Unable to come up with a response in time. There is an expiration date on that sort of composition. Once Storm and a mothership are done, and you don't already have a way to limit their economy, well, you better either settle in for the long haul or the very short one. And it appears it was the second one this time around. But we're going to a new map. Well, Team Liquid map contest map. This is the Korean StarCraft 2 League, the 69th weekly finals. Well, kind of bi-weekly at this point. So hopefully you've enjoyed some of the nice games they've provided throughout, now, I guess years is accurate. You can find more info in the description. Jimmy, the description! No, they don't have to like and subscribe. It's just highly encouraged. Yes, I know I'm very subtle. And modest. don't write that down. Sorry. But if you'd like to support more, they're right on the edge of only being able to put on the tournament every a couple weeks at this point. I'm putting in some support as well. But if you got the means and motivation, be awesome to help out. They're willing to send in some of the Team Liquid map contest maps, like this one, Arrowhome. We've already seen some wild games with Dark, I believe versus Creator not long ago. So, we'll see if Hero manages it any better. Well, actually, what happened though? It was just incredible Creator and base trades. He has a problem. I don't think he acknowledges his problem, which is why it keeps happening. But Creator has a tendency to put himself in dramatic scenarios and have something of an emotional breakdown on the way out. But this is a stressful game. All right? If you think back to the decade ago when you actually played it, you'll remember. Now take off your rose-colored glasses and remember how it felt to queue up again into the same guy who just cannon rushed you, have them cannon rush you again, and still fail to defend it. Good times, right? And that's the hardest part of the game. I think the reason why ladder anxiety is partially so prevalent is you remember the short losses much more profoundly than the long dramatic games. A long macro game that takes 45 minutes is the same amount of points as losing to a cannon rush in 3. So that's always been the beauty and the horror of StarCraft, and StarCraft 2 especially, for better or worse. I think better, especially when it comes to a competitive environment, but it doesn't make it any less stressful. There's no laning phase here. You get thrown right down the center one way or another. Hero, walling things off, actually using skins, crazy, or they didn't apply. So the reason, is that a wall? Yes, I guess so. The reason you don't usually see skins in pro games is because the observer mod that is applied to live games, it can't change during a replay. The observer mod essentially puts everything on standard. I think you could adjust. Oh, he gets Hero. Oh my. Get it! You can do it! Not even close, baby. Do not knock on the door of that pylon. 8 HP, 2 Zergling claws away. So close, yet so far. But what was I saying? Yeah, the reason, it's not that the players aren't using it, but it appears Hero is actually using, I believe this is like the Alarak skin. But when we're using the Observer mod that gives us all the little stats and stuff, which they didn't activate for this game, I think, it disables the skins. Because there's been some questions about competitive integrity of units looking slightly different. I think it was a silly solution to just disable them entirely. Obviously, a missed opportunity there for, you know, advertising. Like, there's a reason that, like, a Glock skin in Counter-Strike goes for more than the price of an actual Glock in real dollars. But actually, it's the knife skins that are more. But still, the idea applies. Definitely a missed opportunity. Obviously, it's not the same as Counter-Strike. That game, I think, is one of the best designed spectator esports. I'm not a huge fan of watching it all the time myself, but I always got to respect how well designed as a spectator esport is. Here, did you just get your probe stuck? No? Oh, apparently it gets out. By the way, He lost his pylon to the Zerglings at the front. I was in the midst of a profound-sounding self-conversation. A monologue, I guess. This entire thing is a monologue. I digress. But, of course, Hero just lost his first pylon, because why wouldn't he? One of the more Hero things. So what else has happened? We've seen 1 pylon and 8 Zerglings, so it's a single drone die. I gotta wheel it back in. Quite a... Well, it appears starting things off without any sort of aggression, just going straight to a macro game. And a similar sort of composition to start things off. We're gonna have a Roach one for Dark, who already has a lair completed. He hasn't invested in the Hydra Den yet. Meanwhile, Hero finished up his Blink, and now is adding more Stalkers in. Just the 4-gate, very similar build, just somewhat later on the upgrade. So this is more focused on getting damage than earlier. Oh, he's going through the Valley of Death. One of the features of this map, outside of being relatively standard, is the Valley of Death in the center, with 2 sets of rocks forming a quite a tight choke point, as well as more rocks on the outside. The Queens... all together. Queen's Mood is gathering. Hero decides not to go through these rocks. That Dark has obviously opened up himself, or was intending to. Got rudely interrupted by the end, but... Zergling counterattack. And Hero, well, he's got Adepts, he's got a shield better, he's all jimmy jammed in there. And he does have an Adept in the wall, so it does seem a bit precarious in this position. Roaches, this time around, Dark not even bothering with the Hydralisk, but instead just going straight up mass Roach, holding down the R key like he's Stefano in 2013. Yeah, we're all about the nostalgia today. But only 56 drones. But he's gonna have so many Roaches. 200 supply Roach max is the intent. He's just sending it right now. Almost nothing back at home. The quick, hey! You got... Am I moving very slow or not at all? Not at all. Not at all. I know you're very slow in general, Brenda, but hey! Meanwhile, Recall's back. The Roach is on top of the base. The Oracle gonna be recharged. The other one almost drained of energy, but Dark, quantity and quality all its own, chasing the Stalkers back into the mineral line. The shield batteries are out of energy. There are 8 gates in total, but Hero's struggling to put it together. Just an all-out Roach attack. He's getting on top, trying to individually target down the Stalkers. Dancing around the mineral line. Hero looks like he may actually hold with the help of that recharged Oracle. And, wow. Dark lost 30 Roaches. The Oracle driving everything back, and that's the issue. Is, if you don't if you don't get critical damage as a Zerg, then energy recharge on an Oracle will just help whittle down any sort of attack you have. Dark still has the momentum. He still has plenty of Roaches here, but that Oracle just keeps racking up the damage. Finally, a revelation on the other one, but there's enough Stalkers left over. Now a Hydra Den is on the way. Dark was not so light on economy back at home that, he's going to suffer dramatically for it. But Hero actually had the Lurker lead throughout all of this. Only now has Dark drawn even. So the income will still be comparable for Hero, who's going now for Psionic Storm and +2 ground weapons. Dark already has +1 ranged attack done. He still has plenty of Roaches. The Zerglings get caught. And the Queens... still standing by, but charge lots up to the north side. Another stasis is shut down, but the charge lots will slice through the base. Why don't we allow skins? All right. At this point, it's going to be hard to convince anyone to make a wholly new observer interface, unfortunately. Observer mod, not interface. Those are 2 different things. Like, I have a custom one here, but you can't apply skins post-game, unfortunately. I'm just loving how cool those zealots were. blue. That's my favorite of the Zealot skins. I don't even remember what it's called. Oh, it's like the cybernetic ones. Yeah, they got the Wolverine claws of the Robo Zealots here. All right, and Dark has something on the Roach as well. I think it's just the less advanced. And the classic Hydras. Dark also one of the best SC Evo players as well. But Storm is completed. Dark did deny the 4th base and established his own. He's now up 50 supply. Storm is done, but a mothership is a long way off. He doesn't even have a fleet beacon in the robotics facility. Gonna be targeted by the Roach's legs. Finish it! He gets it. Oracle, plenty of energy, still chasing, but another army to the north side, completely uncontested. And Dark swings in yet again, and he knocks out another base. No cancel from Hero as he tries to chase things down with another legion of Robolots. The Queens. Hold it together, Susan! Hold! What is that? Are you doing a bit? I don't... Now juggling back the Warp Prism! No, Hero! The Warp Prism with Templar inside only gets one out. It's a good Storm, but not good enough. Dark now up 100 supply. Well, the Storms are still very good, but I think he may have gotten the damage done this time. It's just gonna be too much as Dark overruns the field, floods it with Roaches and Hydras, and Hero unable to stabilize and will be knocked down as Dark ties up the series 1-1. Well, quite a start. There's a clear split here so far. And we've seen it throughout the Protoss versus Zergs that pretty much don't involve Cyril on the new patch. But it's that Storm timing. If you can get 4 bases with Storm, as a Protoss, you're feeling good. If not, things are a lot more tenuous. And I don't think losing your first pylon helps. Just want to throw that one out there. And speaking of throwing something out there, we got a new map. Starchild. A bit, I think it's a mostly generic layout, the Cloud Kingdom-ish style. There's archetypes of maps that we have usually. As really just the look of them is what gets updated the most. But one of my favorites in terms of the Feng Shui we got going on here. I'm sure Hero will come up with something very creative for the wall-off as well. But it's more like a Shakuras, like a purple, green. I don't know, I'm talking about the interior or exterior decorating of the map, but you know what? It's worth pointing out. I like it. Dark, sending a drone. Dark sending a drone. Okay, well, here we go. He was waiting until he'd have enough to drop down a hatchery. That's why he waited a little bit longer. Didn't want to give Hero any extra warning, but Hero knows how incredibly ready Dark is to slap down a hatchery right up in his face, so he's going to deny it for now. Dark did manage to get his hatchery. Gonna try to push the probe away. So you can't build a gas geyser unless there is not a unit nearby, because the gas geyser is technically larger. Or you can't, the assimilator or the extractor, what have you, is larger than the geyser. So there has to be a little bit of extra space. This is also why you can't build if there's like a siege tank there. So in hold positioning a worker, he blocks the drone from taking the geyser. That was the intent there, and that little kind of odd thing. Because even if he can't slap down a hatchery, denying a gas geyser is a moderate inconvenience and can slow down the build in general. In fact, Dark gonna do a bit of mining, Mike. Bit of role reversal here. Who doesn't like that on occasion? Don't know where the probe went. Did he lose it? What? Oh, he lost his scouting probe and we missed it? The vet... Okay, Hero. What is this? Is that... I think so. He just slaps a pylon out in the wall. What could go wrong? If only we had an example from literally one game ago to see Dark not trying to exploit it this time around. Stargate in production. And Hero, starting things off with the Oracle. No Void Ray. Seems exclusive to El Dorado so far. What the hell? A little supply closet. Sure, yeah. That's certainly one of the ways to do it. Zerglings. Cancel at the last moment. The Queens moving out. The Adepts, bit two-faced on it. Oracle coming. Did he recharge it? He did not. Interesting. There are Oracles in production. And just go straight for the mineral. And the Queen's a little bit off to the side, and it will cost 3 drones. And of course, the Oracle down in the orange. As is customary, but already a 3rd Nexus on the way. He jams himself into the minerals. Now that is definitely annoying. Not the end of things, but here we're going to try to drag everything out of position. Wow, a 3rd Oracle. Will he actually go for a 4-Oracle build? It's been a while. The Triumvirate. 4 drones in total. But the Zerglings darting in, encouraging the Oracle to stick around and make sure everything's locked down. Warping in some more. Twilight and Forge finally on the way. Quite delayed overall, but he did get his gas geyser at the natural. Queens. Papers, please. No. Glory to Zerg Stotska. Yes, very good, Brenda. Very good. I got that reference. Oh, don't be patronizing. Patron? Patreon? In the description. Oh, that was not clever. I know. Adepts just casually shade in, and then over to the 3rd, the Shady Bunch, just trying to get into all the nooks and crannies of the base, but overall, Dark with plenty of Queens to shut this down. The Oracles will come in from the right flank, but I think this has been mostly a bust. Yes, he ends up killing a dozen drones, but for 7 Adepts. And now Dark is safe to drone for quite a while. He's about to finish the lair. He still has plenty of Queens. The creep spread has not really been delayed at all. So overall, Dark in a comfortable position to drone up, despite the losses. And there's Blink and +1 on the way, but well, I guess the only saving grace here is that Dark doesn't know exactly when the Blink. Oh, I love that. You can almost not, well, unless you have health bars on, but the spire hidden beneath the plateau. Mutas on the horizon. The Oracles will light up and burn the base. Ugh. Gross. Templar Archives is on the way. I'm sure Dark knows what Hero's intending on. Or at least, has a good idea. It's gonna be Blink and +1. And then, eventually, Charge Lots, Immortals, and Templar. The Templar are pretty quick. Yeah, if you don't have I don't know what sort of health bar. We can't see from an observer perspective what sort of health bar. I wouldn't be surprised if Hero just didn't use health bars. Maybe like unselected. A few Korean players actually have it like that, which is madness to me. But then again, that would explain a little bit of how Hero plays. There is a cannon on the way. He's denied about 20% of his own mining to make sure the rest of it is a lot safer. Dark has 10 Mutas banked up. No, we didn't have the Overlords finished. Zerglings with +1 are on the way. Stasis covering the back. And he's just gonna lose the hatchery. We'll see if any alarm. Wow, the timing on that was so thin. Dark cancels it at the last moment like it's StarCraft Ghost. Well, 12 Mutas on the way. And Stalkers are okay at dealing with Mutas, but without any Phoenixes, double-digit Mutalisks already on the field. I think Hero's starting to get a little suspicious. at this stage. And the mutas are flying out, but Hero, did he see it? I don't think he saw them flying past the stasis. No Phoenixes in production indicates he did not. He's gonna be completely blindsided. He's in the dark about this, and now Dark is gonna... Wait, no, he saw it. He's got a cannon on the way. He either figured it out because there's nothing else on the field. It's far too late, though, for these probes. And there's enough lings. Wow, he's gonna kill 10 probes immediately. More probes in the main. The damage has already been done. More overlords on the way. Without Phoenixes already in production, there's no end in sight. He can zone out the mutas, but now Dark has total map control. He's building 7 overlords. He can fill in the mutas. Is there a Bane Nest? No. But if he wants to go Hydras, that'll work. If he wants to keep making mutas, that could work as well. Mass Mutalisk against Protoss. If you're able to get away with it, still a very viable strategy. Hero will have probably one opportunity to move out with as much of an army as possible, because it's unlikely he's ever going to expand again. The base itself is in the way of things, but he could just fight the Stalker's flyer attack. Level 1 is about to be completed, and weapons are going to be done for Hero as he files out of the checkpoint. Oh my god, the Stalkers are struggling. They're tripping over each other. Hero made the most convoluted airlock to his base, and he's definitely struggling for it. He's getting chased down. The one thing here is a lack of banelings. So he is, well, he's gonna try to crush this outright on the field. Dark will lose a lot, but if Hero loses more, that's all that matters. He weathers the storms. The Stalkers blink off to the side. Dark will refill. He wanted to engage, lose, or trade out some units, and then refill again. But did he do enough? Hero's still coming across. 8 more mutas on the way. The Stalkers will blink in, take out a couple more, but as long as there are no Archons there, there's no other... There are 3 Archons, which in a heads-up fight, an existential threat. Hero's actually chased him all the way back home. It's just, there's 3 Archons with this army, but the mutas are on the other side of the map. He doesn't have anything but Zerglings. Zerglings do not counter Archons. He's gonna lose the base. Dark has to come back around. It's a disaster. The mutas just getting shredded by the psionic anger of the Protoss and the overwhelming power of this army. The stasis catches the lings, and that will change the equation. He's getting outflanked at Hero. Well, unfortunately, despite the fact he was completely blindsided by the mutas. And by completely, I mean didn't have any defenses besides a few Stalkers. It doesn't matter. The Muta's just not a reliable unit outside of the surprise factor. Dark, you know, you gotta respect Dark for trying to make it work. But unfortunately, Hero kept his cool, and he built up the army he needed to just crush his way across the map. And that brings us to Game 4. Frostline. Where either Hero will cross the line to victory, or Dark will chill him out a bit and bring us to Game 5. It's definitely a better map for Zerg. Any map that the bases are so far apart without a ramp makes it a lot easier to do Hydra, Ling sort of attacks. That's usually the main sticking point, is having to come up a ramp, go through a choke point. That last map, you had to go around a set of rocks. But Frostline, relatively short rust distance and wide open bases. Now, as time goes on, you run out of bases to expand to. Bases last about... So, you start mining out bases after about 8 minutes. Gas guys are thinking more like 14, 15. All the minerals, if you have full saturation, is like 12. But the first patches of minerals mine out earlier. There are 4 small and 4 large patches. So you got 800, and then I believe it's about 1,800 piece. Or 900. Either way, half of them have half as much. And that is why those mineral patches mine out more quickly. You can even see it by the way they are. Isn't that neat? What that means is relatively early on, you got to start looking for more bases. And we saw there, that was the struggle for Dark. He didn't get his 4th base up. Despite the fact he had the mutas and he had the supply, he didn't really have the production to transition out. Though, in hindsight, it probably would have been better to have some roaches or hydras mixed in. We'll see. Hero over there sitting on, just right-clicking on the minerals, trying to flirt with them and keep the drones from mining comfortably. Mildly annoying. Let's see what Hero comes up with on the wall in on the other side. Stargate. That unrelated. We had moved on past whatever point I was making, and now completely different one. Stabbing its way through. But a Stargate is the choice. Dark, working on his 3rd. No drone scout this time. I do wonder what is with the drone scouts, but seemingly only... Like, he drone scout on El Dorado and on Star Chow, but not on Arrowhome or Frostline. I don't know what the method to the madness is. Maybe just whenever he feels like it, when the planets are aligned or unaligned, would probably be more accurate. It feels right. I can't figure out a method to the madness. And probably better not to try. The most conventional looking wall off we've seen from Hero. This is about how it's supposed to look. Notice he keeps, I believe he has enough space to put a shield battery behind and potentially shade the adept through. So that is your more conventional setup for those the 4 people here actually looking to play. That's what it should look like. In my opinion. My humble, modest, all those things opinion. Oracle will snitch on the Overlord. Stalker will take it out. Now, it's a bit of a giveaway that he built a Stalker at all. That means we're not looking at 2 adepts early, at least right off the bat. Dark has a little more space to get drones out, but it's not like Hero's being stingy. 42 probes against 38 drones. Enough Zerglings to zone out the adepts. The queens. Susan, I told you to spread the creep. Like, we have a whole list here. We have to spread the creep. We got to inject, and then, of course, there's self-care. We can't heal ourselves, Brenda. All right, it's just not allowed. It's illegal. You scratch my back, I scratch yours. I'm not scratching your back. That's just gross. And you're all over the place right now. Nobody knows where this is going, and it really feels kind of like you shoehorned this whole bit in because you were looking for commentary while nothing else was happening. You don't have to talk. Sometimes you can just not talk. Like the Protoss, they don't even have maps. Oh, very clear. Oracles. Oracles will slice down some extra Zerglings as the Adepts threatening a Shaden. We'll cancel at the last moment as the Queen... about the creep! That little spot without creep. A constant pain for the Queens to amble across. And could potentially be exploited, but now being filled in. Even more Adepts, just like 10 casual Adepts. Throwing some shade in. Trying to keep Dark's drone count limited, but so far has not done a great job of it, to be honest. Hero gambling on the higher Adept count to carry him through, but it's just not going to happen. Hydra's den. Wow, that is a fast Hydra den. We'll see. If he goes for Hydra speed first, he's clearly intending on attacking. Dark is actually going up to 70-something drones here. Which, well, He might just be replacing the ones he thinks he's gonna lose. His 66 drones is exactly 3 base saturation. Now he's adding more. That's not the number yet. He's going for a 4th and a 5th base. Kind of challenging hero. What are you gonna do about it? Oh my. Okay, well that... I keep saying 70 drones, and Dark keeps trying for it. But he brings some more out of the buildings that he hid those drones in. I don't know if that's... Is turning a drone into a building a punishment or a promotion? Depends on if they're into it, I guess. Check out my Dronely fans for more morphing-related content. After you like and subscribe. The Adepts actually made it back home and can be combined with the attack. With the Oracles as well. Quite an anti-Zergling build. But the Zerglings, with the help of the Hydra, starting to cut through. And the more the Queens can tank, the easier it gets here. More Hydras on the way. Still vulnerable, though. The edge of the creep is the sticking point here. As you can clearly tell when the Queens step even a couple toes off it. Meanwhile, the Oracles... enough energy for Revelation, but not much more at the moment. Maybe a stasis. Templar Archives on the way, but Dark! Dark! Ambitious, gratuitous greed. 83 drone. He just kept building them. Like another round or two. Exploiting the fact that Hero went for that Adept time. Wow! Hero is convinced. He's panicking so much he built a second Templar Archives. He is so convinced it's a Hydra all-in, but Dark successfully Hero is panicking. Alarm bells ringing, cannons in production. But no, he's been bamboozled. Dark is sprinting towards Hive with just enough Hydras to make sure his bases are not contested easily. So Hero just misread. Yes. I never learned how to read, which explains a lot, but misread this entirely. It will cost him. He recalls the Stalkers back. Dark very much looks like he's doing just a massive... And he is. He's doing a big all-in. Well, with an asterisk, because he's not all-in, because he has so much economy and tech ready behind. He does not have to attack here. If he finds an opportunity, he should go for it, but... Well, the Queens are gonna get surrounded. The Hydras and Ling zoning out. Now, it's unclear who's really flanking who in this fight. The Queens will tank most of the damage, trying to eat more with the Templar. But Hero clearly struggling on supply. He sent all these units across the map. The Storm's wading through it himself. A lot more Zergling's gonna go down. He's gonna fight on the high ground. Does Hero even know about that top? He doesn't know about that top left corner. And Dark isn't mining from it yet, but he's adding... It's part of the production. Dark has enough money for 16 Lurkers right now. Though he doesn't have enough supply. It's kind of close. Clearly, we're looking at a massive Lurker swell here. And the Porcupine Zerg is certainly a strong way of catching Hero off guard. I think Hero's starting to realize that he was maybe playing a bit too timid. Dark... Not nearly that predictable. He tried to play against the Dark from previous games. But now, the new Dark has a much higher economy. A couple Lurkers on the way. A Nidus network as well. Hero with a healthy supply. 100 army supply. He's stuck on these bases. He spots a Lurker, takes it out. Storms. Finds a meteor one. Some more Hydras will be melted. Just takes out another Lurker. Meanwhile, more Storms on the ramp. Lurker closing in. And the Immortal. Hero struggling to make a lot of progress here. Without the Immortals, the Lurkers are going to be able to hold it down. He finished Lurker range. He now has Hydra Lunge. Lunges away. 20 more Hydras in production. Dark still at 80 drones. Still with a massive income lead. Though Hero will be completing his 4th Nexus. More Storms. Lunges back. The Lurkers are softened up. There is a Fleet Beacon on the way. And that could potentially help. A Mothership would certainly be a game changer at this stage, but Hero's supply is incredibly thin. He does not have enough to continue this aggression without massive risk. The Immortal, scouting Immortal, but he lunges it down. The Hydras. He recalls out the Templar and the Immortal. The Stalkers will remain on the field. Might be able to pick off some more Hydras. But the lunge, kind of an awkward one to use. You actually have to select the Hydras, click on the ground. Or does it activate the ability and then move? Either way, it's quite unwieldy. And the Immortal, he lunges again. The Stalkers might be able to save the Immortal, but overall, an awkward engagement across the board for Hero. Meanwhile, the Zerglings coming in towards the 4th base, and that 4th base, I said it's so difficult to actually expand out, especially as Protoss here. And Dark are looking to exploit that to the fullest effect. There's a mothership on the way, but the Lurkers are popping out of the Nidus. The beachhead has been established. Hero still with a lot of army supplies. If he's able to complete the mothership, he might have what he needs to break through. Firing the Lurkers over the gap. A Nidus in the main base. Another Nidus down the center. The Archon's on the wrong side of things. There are 18 Lurkers in total. Dark is closing in. And now, the second prong of this many-pronged attack. He's about to fork him up. Heroes still with a lot of army supply, but the Lurkers are already established. There's not enough storm. He's running right through the Lurker spines. And that will just gut his army entirely. Hero plummets 20-something supply in seconds. One of the saddest recalls. Gets another Immortal, gets a Templar. The Oracles get out, but does it even matter in the end? Meanwhile, the mothership has arrived. The last chance to save the day. Not activating the cloak. There it is. There's actually no detection. A time warp, and Hero, Mama's home, and there's no detection to deal with this. So Hero might be able to turn it around, but the Nidus in the main base of the Lurkers will be popping out of it. Still revelated as well. He Niduses in his own natural. He has no other... Well, I don't know where the escape Nidus is. I think he just wants to freak him out with it, but... Or, yeah, actually, I'm not sure what the intent is with that one. A bit of extra panic, but he already took out the 4th base. The Lurkers are slicing up the ramp, isolating the base, and Hero will be left with a mothership and nothing else. Loses pretty much every single unit before going down, but we're going to game number 5. The mothership, not enough. The Immortal's not enough. The Templar, not enough. As Dark closes in. Ultra Love will be our final map of this Korean StarCraft League Finals. I doubt we'll see the namesake there, but always a good sentiment. Game number 5. Match point. Hero and Dark yet again so many times. Hero definitely has the edge now. I believe it's 57, 58% of matches have gone Hero's way. I believe Hero has the highest win rate of any Protoss against it, which isn't surprising overall. But it just seems like he has his number. Dark is able to punch... Well, some might argue he has no weight class, but... Dark seems to beat even players like Clem and Cyril. Well, you know what? Citation needed. He's been kind of destroyed by both those players recently, but even Max Pex. Well, generally, Dark still very good. That's what I'm trying to say. Proxy Hatchet is game number 5. Come on down. He's gonna pull 4 probes to deal with it. We'll see how much Dark wants to commit. He gets a gas geyser. 5 probes. Just enough to potentially kill it right before it finishes with the help of a zealot. The most economical response to somebody building a base in your base. The probe at the natural. Hero doesn't quite have enough for a pylon. 1 second! Oh, but he boxes out. But Dark just comes back, trying to fake him, but a pylon is slapped down. So, well, did he time this out perfectly? Oh my, he's leading the drone around. That is infuriating. The Zealot, and he cancels it. With the Zealot, it's just barely enough. And then Dark double expands, because of course he does. The Zealot will futilely chase the drone, but somebody's got to do it. It's not like the Zealot can mine. Probably just cut up the minerals with those laser hands. Pretty depressing life. You can just turn them off. No! Took an oath. My life for Ayerstotska. No, not that again. Adept coming in. The drone still dragging all the attention. But finally will be taken down. And Hero, what's it gonna be? Stargate. Slaps it down. Did he spot? He did spot in the most awkward looking. He saw the very beginnings of a hatchery. The little hatchery nub. Alright, every hatchery starts small and then expands ridiculously quickly into the size of a hatch in terms of width. Which must be traumatizing for the drone. But we've already been over this. Three queens at a time. Speed. Closing in. Oracle first. And now we see. Well, Dark doesn't. As this Stalker just took it out. Unfortunate, but he doesn't get any vision on any follow-up Stargate units as well. 2 Adepts and a Zealot enough to help zone out the base. Dark is only at 27 drones. Just now finishing his bases in a very precarious spot economically. Needs to minimize the damage this Oracle does. So far, no losses. Manages to dodge away. If he's able to actually build up for any amount of time on 3 bases, he should be able to get quite an economy. Enough to maybe launch an attack. But Hero is clearly aware of that. Already moving out with the Adepts and the Oracles. Every extra drone Dark sneaks out is another one that could potentially be taken out if he's not very careful about the next minute or two. Zergling's taken down, Shady Bunch, and yes, all right, let's do it. Activate your shade, and well, you know what? Just hang out over there. The Adepts will complete the shade into the main. Not enough Zerglings to really deal with it. The drones will run. Don't want to bring too many queens away. 16 more lings in production. Hero just droning up behind this. Or probing up. Whatever. You know what I meant. Zerglings looking to overrun. But the treacles... Oh no! Wandering into the spores. But the whole position is really good. And now the Oracle's going to slice through the Zerglings as well. While the Adept works on the drones. 8 drones killed. Gets into the main, and the Spore Crawler helping, but 10 drones taken out. Was it worth it? I think just for the Adepts. He also got 20 lings. So the Oracles are still alive, and those were key drones. Those were drones right at the start. The Zealot lived! Will the Oracle save him? Wow. Wow. Does not even bother activating him. Oh, why do you think Zealots are so angry? That's pretty hardcore. 3 Oracles overhead. Each had enough energy to activate. Doesn't even turn on one to try to save the Zealot. Or avenge it. I get it, but that's cold. Blinking +1 on the way. as Dark's economy has been severely limited. He's down 6 workers, though he is double expanding yet again. Gonna try to bounce back. It worked for him in the last game, but I think Hero's done the damage this time around. He's not gonna make the mistake of being intimidated again. He's going to make sure Dark has to show his hand, even if it's to slap him across the face a few times. 52. He's got +1 melee on the way. It really feels like Dark's like, I guess I have all these Zerglings. We're doing Zerglings. It's so many Lings, but there's still 3 oracles overhead. He's gonna go for the all-out blink attack as well. 8 gates, the Ocho in production. 52 to 62 workers. There's a Hydrogen on the way. Dark is now building a round of drones, trying to trigger the stasis. He gets one. There's one more on the back. I don't know if he realized it, but Hero, there's the man in the wall! You even had Stalkers back at home. He has to recall back. Undercuts the entire attack. Hero! How many goddamn times? He finally figures out how to complete it. But again, and if he ends up losing this game, and even if he doesn't, how many times? I feel like his win rate against Dark would be at least 10% higher if he was consistently able to keep a unit in the wall. It forces out the recall. Dark now has 69 drones, which is a very nice economy to start building Hydra. But he doesn't have the Hydras yet. He doesn't have +1 melee yet. He's contending with a whole lot of Stalkers. It's going to be 9-gate Stalker. There's even a shield battery back here. The Queens are going to take quite a pounding by the Stalkers. He's overrunning it, but the Sim City at this side of the map, his sort of finger painting style of Forrest Gumpy and Protoss architecture is actually going to work out for him in this exact scenario as he warps in another round of Stalkers. Hydra's on the way. Hatchery's taken out, though, and a lot of the Hydras are building on that location. Dark is under heavy pressure and is about to crumble if he doesn't turn it around quickly. +1 melee gonna finish mid-fight, but the stasis wards are endless. The Queens are being cut down. The Zerglings, the sheer mass of Stalkers is acting as a force field. He can't find the surface area. There's another stasis. 111 Zerglings have died and counting. Another stasis. The Hydras are so important, but the Zergling count, he's got 36 Stalkers. That is too many. We gotta get out. They're coming. Hero takes it 3-2, despite what some might argue are mistakes. Some others might argue they were happy little accidents. As Hero turns it all around, Dark drawn into a subpar Zergling timing. And, well, Hero takes full advantage. And he takes the series yet again. Dark falls to Hero. 3-2. Oh, well, I hope you enjoyed. Thank you to the Korean StarCraft 2 League, as always, for another great week. Oh, and if you got the means and motivation, be awesome to check them out in the description. Or Patreon here as well. Thank you to our Mule Tier patrons especially. But I hear liking and subscribing is still free. At least for now. So thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Good luck. Have fun. I hope I made your day just a little bit better. Stay chill.